Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks, tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about an adventure style game. We're going to be talking about Kabula, and in this game you will be running around a map, having encounters, entering dungeons, and eventually facing off with the main boss guardian that will allow you to win the game. So in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, telling you what we do like, what we don't like. Then we'll come back, we'll tell you whether or not Kabula is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this.
Bollocks.
So Kabula, how'd you play this game? So Kabula is a very, very strange adventure style game. It's going to see you running around a map, visiting different locations, having encounters, and eventually you're going to provoke the Guardian to try and steal the Kabula. When you defeat the Guardian, the player holding the Kabula will be the winner of the game. Each player is going to take a player board. You've got a number of dials on it. You've got your maximum health, the current health. You've got the number of fars that you have, which is the currency. And then you've got your familiar's health at the bottom. A familiar is basically a monster that you have defeated that you've claimed as a pet, right? You also see you've got some spaces for different tokens. Got the rage space, the fresh space, and the use space. What you'll be doing, you'll be cycling through these tokens, place them in the use space when you've used them, right? And then you'll have to rest to get them back. There's different types of tokens that have different things. You've got legs that allow you to move. You've got arse cheeks, gut, brain, and teeth. They all do different things. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose a guardian. You're going to put the miniature all standy, if you've got the shit version, in the center of the board with the Kabula, which looks a bit like a tree stump, yeah? You'll choose a character, you put the miniature on the place where it tells you to, and you'll have some hero cards. If you flip them over, you'll see that each one of them has got a number of hashtags on them. The way you get hashtags is to complete encounters and defeat monsters, and they'll have a hashtag. And if you match it up, you put a marker on there, and once you have completed it, you'll be able to flip it over to get a bonus. Once you've done all your free cards, then you'll be able to attack the Guardian and hopefully nick the Kabula, right? So the way this game works is you'll be taking different actions to do different things. If you look at your player board, you see that there's a couple of actions on there. You've got the move action. Basically, you have to spend a leg to move two spaces. The way that movement works is that each time you go over one of the lines, you'll have to spend a movement point, yeah? So if you're going up a mountain, it's going to cost you more than if you're going from plane to plane. But if you're coming down a mountain, it ain't going to cost you nothing, right? If you want to rest, you'll have to move all of your tokens into the use box, and then you'll redistribute them, making sure that you've got a maximum of 10 in the fresh box and 5 in the rage box, right? So there's a bunch of different actions you could take. On a map, you can enter a space with an encounter pin. What you'll do is you'll draw and resolve an encounter. There's usually a couple of options on here, and this is one of the ways that you can get hashtags and extra stuff, yeah? You could enter a dungeon. You'll draw a dungeon card and you will resolve it, and then you'll flip the pin over to dungeon level 2. Level 1 is easier than level 2, innit? And once you have completed an encounter, you'll flip it over, and that encounter pin will become a monster pin. You can go into this space to provoke a monster, and you'll have a scrap with one of the weird and wonderful monsters in the game. So you might come across the were testicle, right? You'll put the card onto the round order number tracker. When the monster takes its turn, you'll flip a coin and do what it says on the card, yeah? So the were testicle might have public howling. It moves 2 steps towards a target, then attacks up to 4 spaces away, does 2 damage, yeah? Or you might end up with the clockwork seahorse, and this might have the sharp beak. It says move 2 steps towards a target, then attack once, and then roll aim. If you roll aim, you roll the aim die, and this will target different body parts, right? So yeah, all these monsters are a little bit odd, and some of them are quite funny actually. So yeah, so you'll see around the edges of the board that there are different cities you can go to. This is where you can buy shit. You can go shopping for common items, and some places you can buy rare items, yeah? If you decide to attack a monster or another player, if you like, it's got player versus player, then you will have to use different weapons. You'll see that there is a sword icon. This is to do with attacks, and you'll have to spend different tokens to do different attacks using different weapons, right? I think attacks do damage automatically, and it's up to the defender to use their abilities and items to defend against your attacks, yeah? If you end up dying and the Guardian hasn't yet been provoked into waking up, then you will move into the sanctuary and you'll revive all your health and you'll go again, yes? So there is a bit of respawning in this game, yeah? So once you have completed your last hashtag on your hero cards, then you can move into the sanctuary to provoke the Guardian, and then the Guardian will awake and it will be controlled by a little bit of AI type stuff. You'll all then be able to attack the Guardian, and then you'll be able to pick up the Kabula. Once the Guardian has been defeated, the player with the Kabula will be the winner of Kabula, right? That's what it's named after. Fucking thicko. So do we like about Kabula? So the first thing that we like about this game is that there are masses and masses of encounters in the box, yeah. There is a fucking massive stack of encounter cards, yeah. And you've got a not so massive stack of dungeon cards, right? And they're all different. And each one of them tells a little bit of a story. So you might end up going to the hunter camp. It says a group of bounty hunters is gathered around a bonfire. They're taking selfies while jumping as high as they can and moving as if they were sneaky ninjas. It seems like they believe they're cool. So this allows you to bite down on a stick, at least on a fucking pillow, right? Or you could trade and even pay them, yeah? And you'll get some shit for that. You might end up coming across some geezer called Bog the Archer. You might have a seagull gift. Or there's even like a dirty hookup card. Shall I read it to you, right? God knows how you finally hooking up with an elf before getting serious. You asked to use the toilet. The sight freezes you. Your lover got explosive diarrhea and forgot to clean it up. Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it? All these encounters are a little bit weird. There's loads of encounters. There's loads of shit and diarrhea in this game. So just don't play it with your mum. So the second thing that we like about this game is that monsters can be claimed as pets or familiars, yeah? And this gives you a little bit of a leg up over the other players. You can stick your familiar into the round order tracker and you can use it as if you're controlling two players, right? What you do, you flip over the card. It will then attack people and monsters instead of attacking you. So like we said about the clockwork seahorse, right? You know, we said it had a sharp beak and an immoral magnet. Well, once it becomes a familiar, then it can go swimming. It keeps its sharp beak and it's a moral magnet, and it ends up getting metal fins as a defense, right? So that can be really useful for you. So yeah, we really like the fact going after monsters isn't just about killing them. You could go after a monster in order to boost your chances of winning. That's a nice little touch, right? So the second thing, the third thing, now I'm losing it. The third thing that we like about Kabula is the fact that it's kind of self-balancing as you get towards the end, right? Once the Guardian has been provoked, then it becomes a free-for-all. And if you're holding a Kabula, then you become a fucking target, right? Because everyone is going to be clamoring to be the one who is holding it. So not only have you got to defeat the Guardian, you've also got to try and defeat the player that is holding Kabula, right? So if you're holding it, the Guardian's going to be coming after you, and then fucking hell, up to another 5 players, if you're playing this with 6 players, are going to be coming after you as well. So it might be in your interest to leave it until you think that nobody else is going to be able to do you over, yeah? So yeah, we like the fact that it kind of sort of self-balances by making somebody a target of a tidal wave of wrath. So what don't we like about Kabula? So the first thing that we don't like about this is that there is literally no theme, not really anything that it's linked to. There's no IP, right? There's no intellectual property in this game, yeah? The premise is that a load of people from Earth have been sucked into this world to take part in this sort of game type thing to get hold of the Kabula, right? And whilst there's loads and loads of story in this game, they've gone through every card and they've created a unique encounter. A lot of it is just meaningless. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not tied to any kind of universal law. It's just random shit that's been made up, you know? I mean, it's just generic sort of fantasy like elves and dwarves and shit. And I didn't really get the feeling that I was actually playing in a unique world. It just felt running around some kind of map, reading some shit off a card, and then doing something on your player board, yeah? There's no real thematic link between what you're doing on your player board and what's happening in the world, because nothing's really happening. It didn't really feel like it was a living, breathing world, right? And that is a real shame. So the second thing that we didn't like about Kabula is that the combat system was really, really unclear in the rulebook. And still, I don't really understand how it works, yeah? I mean, the rulebook tells you to roll for aim and that, but there's some cards and some different special abilities that say roll for aim, and it doesn't actually give you any kind of icon like teeth or arse cheeks to aim for, right? So what the fuck do you do? I mean, reading through this rulebook, it felt like you were reading like a rule summary and not an actual point-to-point rulebook, yeah? I mean, like, for instance, it says about aim, it says most attacks will instruct you to roll the aim die. To roll the aim die and check the result. That's the part you hit. What the fuck does that mean? Hitting a specific part can grant bonuses. But yeah, like I said, there's cards and effects in the game that aren't linked to any particular part, even though it tells you to roll the aim die. So what the fuck are you meant to do? Doesn't really make any sense. It's a little bit of a mess. It's very frustrating. I played this the other day with my kids and they got bored out of fucking brains because I still didn't understand what the rules were, yeah? Games that are really unclear do my fucking head in. It makes me want to do a cry havoc and chuck light a few over it and burn it, right? So the third thing that we don't like about Kabula is it's too easy to get those bleeding hashtags. All you got to do is go into an encounter and resolve it, and then you get a fucking hashtag. I mean, it's just like walking into a fucking co-op, picking up what you want and then walking out and not giving a fuck. You don't really even need to defeat any monsters in this game. Why would you? Why would you risk it when you can just walk into an area with an encounter pin and then get your hashtags that way? You might have to defeat one monster because obviously there's going to be a number of people going after the easy options, but you could just walk into a dungeon, do it that way. But we found it far too easy to get these hashtags onto our cards and get the bonuses, yeah? So it didn't really feel like there was any kind of challenge in this game. It felt like you were just going through the motions, waiting until you'd had enough turns to get the shit done that was on your card, yeah? And in a sense, that's sort of kind of fucking boring. So To summarise, is Kabula worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we are going to say no. Kabula, for me, is a little bit of a conundrum, right? For a game that has so much story but no real theme or IP to anchor it down, it seems like a missed opportunity. The combat rules are obtuse to the point of saying, fuck it, let's just do this. And that is a real pain in the arse. Yeah, I fucking hate it when games aren't really clear and I don't really know whether I'm playing it correctly. Think of this game as a cross between Eldritch Horror, Reload and Duel of Ages and you'll be halfway there. But why you want to travel that far with this is anybody's guess. So there you go, that is Kabula. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you next time.